Okay, we're going to do a little walkthrough. I think my album is finished now, so let me get it underneath my camera. I went ahead and I added all my flowers and my embellishments. I added a few of these flat back pearls, and the main thing I added that I didn't show you before was these corners by Tim Holtz, and basically they're metal photo corners. Anyway, so I thought they would kind of set off the closure a little bit. Alright, so we're going to open our albums, my album, and here we have our belly band. I embellished them with just a simple flower and added a couple of journaling cards in here and more journaling cards here. In here I added a little fold out so you could add some photos to that, and more back here, big journaling cards. Of course, the pull outs that we use to make the pockets. Whoops, I have to put that back on. Pull outs. There's a photo mat, and you can stuff as many journaling cards back there as you like. And of course, the page. Let me say, I believe this is page 2. It is exactly the same as this one. It mirrors page 1, page 3, and 2 mirror each other. And it's a big belly band, and it's also got journaling cards in the back. It's you can pull out of this big pocket, and then this slips out, and you can add a photo to it. Of course, this side mirrors it. Then we've got page 4, and this one has a little magnet page in it with a closure, and photo mat, more photo mats, journaling cards, and another photo mat that pulls out from behind. And okay, and of course this page mirrors this page. They overlap each other in the book, so they mirror each other. The only thing that's different is the little sentiments on it. And then the next page, 2 pages, are bottom pockets, and you can put journaling cards in there. I added another little fold out. And page 7 and 8. Page 9, well, this is page 7, and like I said, it has a little pull out and a journaling card, and of course the big photo mat that pulls out of the back pocket, just like all the other pages. And our next page has a flip out. It's got a little pocket right here you can add a journaling card to. That one doesn't fit, so you'll have to add like a smaller one. And then of course it has this envelope that we made, and you can add either size journaling card in there. You could also just add a small journaling card, close up the envelope, add a photo, whatever you want to do. So anyway, that one closes up, and of course this page mirrors it exactly. And then we have our last 2 pages, and they both have these little envelopes in them, and they have journaling cards that fit inside the envelope. They have the large envelopes in them, and of course you can fit a large journaling card in there, or a photo, or whatever you want to put in there. So, and then this one has a side pocket, so you can pull that out. I still have sticky notes everywhere. Okay, so the back page, very last, back of the book is a double pocket page. You can put journaling cards in here, photo mats. I just added journaling cards for right now. I'll add photo mats later when I figure out what I want to do with it. And of course the pocket, you can hold photo mats and journaling cards in it. Alright, and that's it. Thank you for joining me to help me build this pretty Misty Rose album. The products can all be bought through Rubber Buggy Stamping Company, and I'll leave all the links to all the products and the cut files and the measurements and everything at the bottom. I'll leave links to everything, so you are welcome to build this album if you like, and if not, something similar, and I would love to see it. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. See ya. Okay, let's start off with our supply list for our 8x8 Gatefold mini album. We're going to use the 12x12 paper pad by Prima called Misty Rose. In this paper pad you get 6 double-sided designs, 4 sheets of each. This should just be the perfect amount of paper for this Gatefold album. And I'll just go through it really quick so you can see what is in it. And I think that we're going to use this for the cover. All this paper is foiled, and it has a lot of gorgeous designs on it, so this will make a beautiful album. Okay. So to go along with the paper pads, with the Misty Rose paper pad, we're going to use on the cover this Shabby Chic Treasure cast iron by Prima. Some Prima butterflies that are coordinating with the Misty Rose paper. A package of ephemera and stickers that are also a part of the collection. Flowers, 3 different paper packs of flowers that are also coordinating with the Misty Rose collection. Next we're going to use the journaling cards. These are the smaller ones. There are 3 by 4, and there's all kinds of gorgeous designs in here, and sayings and quotes, so these will go perfect, and you can journal on these. I'll show you a cute little idea I have using these. The next journaling cards we're going to use, the note cards, they also coordinate with the paper perfectly, and you could use them for journaling, photo mats, just about anything. So next up, you're going to need some score tape. I chose the 3/8 inch and the 5/8 inch, and it's possible you might need 2 rolls of the bigger 5/8 inch, but we're gonna just see how far we can get with this. For the album cover, you're gonna need 2 sheets of cardstock, or I'm sorry, chipboard, and this is about a medium weight chipboard. We're going to need adhesives. I chose 2 different kinds, art glitter This one dries white, so I'm going to use it for the backs to adhere some of the embellishments where you don't have to worry about what's on the back or if it's clear or white. And then I like to use tacky glue also because it dries clear and it's really sticky and it dries really fast. For our album cover, to hold it together, we're going to use you're going to use one of these. I like this one because it's like Tyvek and it will it's really sticky and it's really durable and really strong and flexible. I know you've probably all seen this tape. It's got the fibers in it, and it's also really strong and very flexible. So you can choose whichever one you want. I got this one at Lowe's, and you could probably get this one at Lowe's also. You might need some of these. These are foam squares. You'll need a punch, a large punch for borders. You'll need a way to measure. I am a drafter by trade and profession, so I use a scale, but this is also useful. You have a metric side and a English side, so one's in inches and one's in millimeters, so whatever you're comfortable with using. You're also going to need some black cardstock, 65-pound weight, and I have a package of 50. So for my cardstock and for my pattern paper, I like to use these folders so that I can keep all my scraps together. So I use one for pattern paper and one for the cardstock. I'm also going to use this We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and it's going to make some small envelopes so that we can tuck some of our ephemera notes in and some of our note cards into. They turn out really cute, and they kind of hide your little journaling, and if you have a little private note, you can stick it in an envelope and hide it. For your tools, you're going to need a circle punch. This one's 1.5 inches. I use this for pocket pages so that we can cut a half circle in the top of the pocket and then slide things in and out of it, slide journaling cards or photo mats in and out of it. Of course, you're going to need a paper trimmer. You're going to need a scoreboard. Here's some miscellaneous tools I like to have. A pencil. This is a poker, or I don't know, a sticker. You can pull your tape back with. You can peel tape back, the adhesive off your tape. A pair of sharp scissors, a burnisher, and a craft blade. Also, you'll need these metal corners that are going to go on to the front of our album, and those are optional. You don't have to have these, and you also don't have to have these either, but they are word bands, and they're by Tim Holtz, and it just gives you a little journaling for the front page or the front cover of your album. You can also have these optional items if you have them in your stash. If not, don't worry about it. This is bling on a roll, and you can get this in any of the dollar bins at the craft stores. I also have some book plates that I possibly might use for decoration, some adhesive gems. And that's about it. If you want to use ribbon on yours, or twine, or any kind of lace, you can do that too. One last thing, last couple of things you're going to need. These are the hinges I used on this album. They're closure handles, and they're in antique gold. And you can get these at the hobby store. Also, Tim Holtz makes them. And I have these magnets. There's 14 plus in here in this package. They're super strong magnets. They're 1/16 of an inch thick, so they'll lay pretty flat in your albums. And I got these at the hobby store too, but you can order these online from many of the craft stores. So that is what we're going to need to make our album. All right, let's get going. Okay, let's get started on your cover. I went ahead and did the majority of the cover, but because most of it goes together just about the same. So we're going to work on the right side front cover. This is our hinge. This is our back of our album. This part right here is the spine. This is our hinge. We're going to put the front cover and the spine together. I like to use my tape it's a Tyvek tape I bought from Lowe's. I showed you that in the supply list. So basically what I do is I like to line them up and leave about 1/8 of an inch in between the cardboard pieces or the chipboard pieces, and then just tape it all down. Flip it over and tape the back side. Trim off any excess. And now we're going to attach the hinges. I've gone ahead and already cut my hinges. These hinges are 2 inches wide, 8 inches long. And I've gone ahead and attached my score tape to the back. And we are just going to line it up. Just center it as best as you can. I like to tack one side down first before I tack the other side down. However, this Tyvek tape has a little bit of give, so you can actually lift up your hinge if you get it in the wrong place. Okay. Now peel back the backing off your tape and just fold it over. Bend it to make sure you've got it in the right place. Flip your album over and do the same thing on the other side. You're going to do this for all of the whole cover album. I'm going to put together a video of just how to make the cover, so you'll want to look for that. I will put a link down in the below after I get the cover tutorial done. I got a little bubble there, but that's okay. Okay, now take your burnisher and burnish everything down so that everything's laying flat. You can rub that bubble out pretty easily. Do that on the other side. Fold your hinges up. Be sure to trim off any excess off the bottom or off of where you have, if you've gone over at all, any excess tape or even your cardstock. Do it on both sides. Make sure you get both. Gonna have to stand up for this one. All right. Let's get ready to cover it. So I cut some pieces here. These are the outside front covers. Let me find my hinges real quick. That's the inside front cover. Okay, we are going to cover up our edges here on these inside spine. So I cut 2 of these. They're 8 inches by 3 3/8. I've gone ahead and already added the score tape, and we just need to peel off the backing. The best thing you can do is keep a garbage close by, because this album creates a lot of trash and a lot of scraps. Okay, now line this up, center it as best as you can on your back spine on the inside, and then lay it down. I like to burnish everything down, mainly because you know it's going to stick together. Alright, so we have our cover on. We are going to do something just a little bit different, because to attach our hinge closures, we need to leave the front covers uncovered for just a few minutes. So let's cover the back of the album, the back of the spine on the outside. And again, I've already pre-cut these, so let's just peel off the backing. And center it on your back spine as close as you can. And don't worry about the writing that I have on there, because it's going to get covered up. Okay, we are going to attach this front cover. This is our front cover, by the way, and this is the outside of the front cover. On the outside of the front covers, I cut these 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. So that gives it a little bit of border, but we are going to line this up all the way to the edge. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover this front cover the same way we covered this. And we're also going to cover the outside spine. So to cover the front cover, let's do the outside spine first. I've already got the backing or the tape on the back here too, so it just makes it a little bit faster so that you're not watching this video for hours and hours trying to figure out how to put this album together. And it's just these videos can be so time consuming and so long that I don't want you to lose interest in what you're doing. So okay, so line this up, center it on the back spine as best as you can, line it up with the rest of the album. Okay, and then burnish that on there. I have all my sticky notes on here, sorry. Just so I can remember what I'm talking about, or else I'll forget. Alright, so there's one down. Now let's do the front cover. I cut this front cover 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. I will have a PDF of all of the measurements so that you can just pick them up off of the website for Rubber Buggy or from my blog, either one. Or I can leave, I'll leave a link to my blog on the bottom. So I guess I didn't tell you, but I am RubberBuggy.com's newest designer, and I'll be doing all of the albums, the mini albums for Rubber Buggy. So make sure you check again in the next few weeks, because I already have my next album planned and it's already in the works. So be sure to check back by. Okay, so now that we got all of this covered on the front, this is all of our front. So we are going to close this album. Oh, we need to cover this back page. This will just take a second. Oh no, we're not going to cover that yet because we have to add our hinges on here. So let's do that. I'm going to flip this album over and then open it up again, and we're going to go, this is the very front on my left. It'll be on your right. The album's up. I'm working on it upside down, but I'll flip it over for the video. So we're going to close this together like that, and then we're going to set our hinges on here, center them as best as we can, and then mark with a pencil where we want to attach our hinges. So I think that's perfect right there. So we're just going to mark a spot. We're going to mark with a pencil. There's a couple little holes you can stick in a pencil in. Alright, so I like to eyeball. You can measure down halfway if you want to, but like I told you, I've been a drafter and a road designer for a long time, so I'm pretty good at eyeballing measurements. That's all I do all day is measure, make measurements, and cut. Right now, though, I don't do it with paper, and I don't draft the old way. I actually do it on a computer now. That's why I like to do. That's why I scrapbook. I think for the most part, I love it, and I still get to play, be creative with my hand, and draw. So, okay, we have that done now. Let's go ahead, and you can either use a crocodile, you can use a poker to poke a couple holes in where we're going to attach our hinges. I prefer the crocodile because I get a better punch. So you can do it either way, any way you want. You just need to punch holes where you marked. Alright, so if you've got a small hole punch, that'll work too. Alright, we're going to punch both sides. And I'm going to add a little glue because I want mine to stick. And I noticed that these hinges are attached with brads, and so they kind of get a little loose now and then. I lost my other hinge, sorry. I'll dig it out. It's on this table somewhere. I'm so used to having a huge room, and when we built our new house, my room got a lot smaller, but and so did my workspace. But that's okay. I really like my new room. All right, we're gonna attach that on there, just like that, and then on the other side, we're going to fold those, we're going to fold back the brads. And if you want to burnish these down, that's a good idea too, because it helps them hold. And make sure your brads are turned sideways so that you can cover them up. And let's do the other side. Hope I'm not out of screen, but it's kind of hard to tell where you're at sometimes when you're doing these videos. Alright, line it up there. Stick your brads in. You can do just one at a time if you like, because it's probably easier. Alright, now we have our brads in. I'd like to take a piece of score tape and just make sure those are stuck down really good. So grab your score tape. It doesn't matter what size you want to use, but just cover them up. That way you know they're down there and they're not going to come off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to cover the inside covers. And I've already got the cardstock cut for this, so let's peel this off too, so we don't forget. So peel your backing off. Okay, bring it all the way to the edge because you want to cover that, and then lay it down. All right. Let's do this side. All the way to the edge, and then lay it down. Okay, you're gonna want to go around all the edges with your craft blade or your X-Acto knife, and make sure everything, all the edges are trimmed up, and there's nothing hanging over any of them. If you don't get your cardstock all the way to the top up here, you can always ink that so that it covers it up. So I have a few pages here that need to be trimmed up a little bit, but I need to get a mat for this, so hang on 1 second. And let's get a craft knife out. And then just trim it up. Most of these edges are fine. I have a couple though, just a little bit too much paper. This way so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's good for now. So the next step we're going to do is I want to explain to you how I numbered my pages. Okay, this page is 1. When we put these hinges in over here, we're going to have one flip over the top here, so it'll be 2. This is 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. This will be the even numbered pages. Okay, let's cover this edge. Let's cover these inside covers and spine. So I went ahead and already made the covers from the front of my album, one of the pages, and then I'm going to show you how I made these. The front inside cover is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4, and so we're going to start on, let's do this one because this side is almost done. So we are going to go like this, and I've already got the tape on it. This is a belly band, and I'll show you how to make the belly band here in just a second. Alright, we're going to add some tape to the back, score tape. Okay, so here's how I like to cut my score tape. I'm going to use the 5/8 inch score tape, and if you use an old gift card, it just cuts it straight across and you don't have to worry about anything hanging over the edges. Alright, so that's how I put my score tape on. I don't get too carried away with it because you can really go through this stuff fast, and it's pretty sticky. It sticks really good. Some people like to double up with the adhesive, liquid adhesive, to be able to slide it around, but I just don't want to do that for this one. Okay, so center this on your front inside cover and then lay it down. You can burnish it. Make sure it's nice and sticky. Where it's stuck down, don't get it caught up in the hinge here because you still need to close your front cover. Okay, we are going to move on to our hinges over here on the back side. That's bugging me, sorry. Okay, so when I cut hinges, I cut 6 of these, and they will line right up like this on the inside. I'm gonna flip mine like this, and we are gonna line them up right here. Don't cover up your hinge. Make sure it still closes up. I added score tape already to the back, so that's what you're going to want to do. Peel off the back. This is a really simple hinge system, and I learned this from Shelley Geigel, so if you want to check that out, you can. Don't stick them down too soon. Make sure you got that little gap. All right, there you go. That's their first one. I like to burnish these too because it makes them flatter, makes them lay flat in the album, because the album can get really thick really fast. Okay, so here's our next page. Oops. Peel off your backing. And then butt this up right up next to the last page that you just put on. Burnish it down. You're going to do this for the front part of the album, for the right side of the album, and the left side of the album. And your pages are going to mirror each other, so that's why I went ahead and did some of them ahead of time, because all you're going to do is you're going to make 2 pages of the same design for each side of the album. All right, so there we go. We've got our pages in. Now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and add the back page. I went ahead and built the back page, and basically what it is, it's going to be the same as the very first page, and the reason it is because like I said, they mirror each other. So here's we're going to have 3 of these pages, but I wanted to make sure that we had some places to stash a bunch of stuff in the back, because there's more room in the back of the album. So I will give you the directions on putting that in just a little bit. We'll do that page, but we're also going to make this a pocket. So I just taped 3 edges of the back, and we are going to peel that off and stick it down. And again, don't cover your hinges, because you still need to be able to open and flip the album. So there you go. That one's stuck down now. Let me put this back in this back pocket. I like to burnish these edges because I want to make sure it sticks, and this usually helps. This really makes it stay down. All right, so this will tuck right back in here. And remember how we punched these little circles in the tops of our pages? Well, we're going to do that. And then we're going to take these little circles and use them for our photo mats, so that we have a way to pull out our photo mats. And then I'm going to tuck this one in there too. There's all kinds of little things you can stick back in there, journaling, photos that are, you know, more personal. Okay, so this is the way our album is going to work. This is page 11. This will be page 12. So it's going to flip like that. And then we're going to go like this. So page 2, page 4, page 6, page 8, page 10, page 12. So let's start over on this side with page 2. And let me show you how I made this front cover. And it's going to be a belly band. Remember, I told you that. And what we're going to do is I cut a piece of cardstock. Let me see, I think it's 5 inches by 3 3/4. Like I said, I'll give you all the cuts in a PDF so that you can just follow along that way. It's a lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Let me see how far I came down. I'm just going to eyeball this because this is going to go. All right. We're going to go like this. All right, and now we're going to flip this over. Fold. And fold. Okay. Burnish that down. Fold the other side over. All right, I think I forgot to tell you that you're going to need a hot glue gun also. You don't have to. You can do this with adhesive, but it'll take a lot longer for it to dry. And if you are anxious to get going and complete your album, because these little albums they're a little bit time consuming, so they can take you quite a bit of time to get one done. You don't need a lot of glue, just a thin line of hot glue, because you don't want it to get bulky underneath there. Alright, now we're going to take a piece of pattern paper that I cut out, and it's 1 3/4 by 3 5/16. And we'll cut 2 of those, one for the front and one for the left and one for the right. And I just adhere these with glue. I try to keep my glue in the center of my paper and not on the edge. This glue doesn't dry clear, and I meant to get the clear dry glue, and I didn't. So I'm trying to keep it into the center so that it doesn't seep out the sides, and then I've got white glue showing all over the place. I like to use bling on a roll because it just gives it a little more, and I like bling. So this is adhesive bling, so you don't have to glue it down at all. It already has its own adhesive on it. All right, got that one a little bit too big, so let me trim that off. I think I mentioned I got this bling on a roll in the dollar bins at Michael's. So it's cheap. You get about 3 yards on a roll, and it's only like $1. So it's definitely worth the investment. Okay, so now we're going to add our tape to the back, our score tape. And I'm going to use the 5/8 inch. Burnish that down because I got a little bubble in it. I don't know where I got this little tool, but I love it. It's a Sizzix tool, and it's like just a poker, and it works perfect for peeling this, backing off this score tape. I think I probably got it at the Scrapbook Expo or someplace like that where they were giving it away in a bag. It's like the best tool I've ever gotten. Okay, so let's put this down on your cover. And now your cover is covered inside and out. Alright. Let's go on to page 2. Page 2, remember, is going to go in between like this, but it's going to mirror this page 1. Alright, so all my cuts are done, and I've got everything ready to go for this one. I'm just going to show you how to make it. Let's set this album aside. We don't need it right this second. Okay, so alright, so you're going to need a piece of black cardstock that is 4.5 by 8.5, and I've gone ahead and already added a piece of score tape 3/8 inch to the bottom of my pocket here of the main page. So peel off that backing, and we're going to take this black cardstock that we just punched and cut, and we're going to center it on our sheet, on our page, and stick it down at the bottom. Alright, now take it, flip it over, and fold the excess over. Alright, now using your glue gun again, let's go ahead and stick that down. Alright, now we're going to cover this with some pattern paper, and this is 3 by 7 1/4, and I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this. Again, I like to rub this in and spread the glue out in the back. And be careful so it doesn't seep out of the sides, because my glue is white. If you don't get all the corners stuck down, add just a tiny bit more glue. And that was too much. Okay, so this is a double pocket, so we are going to do the same thing here. Alright, I lost my tape. There it is. I need my 3/8 inch tape. We're going to run a strip down the bottom. Peel back the backing, and we're going to do exactly the same thing we did for the big pocket. Center it on your page. Flip your page over, fold your excess, burnish it down, hot glue it, Alright, now we're going to add the front strip, or the front cover of the pattern paper. And this strip is 1 1/4 by 7 1/4. And again, we're just going to use our art glitter glue. I'm not going to get too carried away, hopefully. Alright. And now that page is covered. Super simple. Okay, I went ahead and pre-cut some bling so that we could cover these raw edges of the pattern paper. And line it up and stick it down. All right, page is done. Let's put it in our book. Flip your page over. Add your score tape to the back. And I'm using the wrong tape, but that's okay. We'll switch to the 3/8 inch tape. I like to use the 3/8 inch because it gives me room, and I don't have to worry about my photo mat sticking to anything. Okay. Okay. Peel off the backing. Grab your album and stick this down. Again, don't cover the fold because you want to be able to flip your pages. And I went ahead and already made a photo mat. And actually, let me stick these in here. Put that in there. These are journaling cards from the coordinated Prima Misty Rose line. They coordinate perfectly with the paper. And so what I've been doing, I took these half circles that we punched out from the tops of our pages, and there's enough room, just perfect, behind them, and I'm using these for tabs. So I just added a little glue, just a very little glue, and centered them on our mats, and there you go. There's a tab, let it dry, and you've got a tab to pull out your mats with. Okay. For this page, for the belly band, you can add a few of your journaling cards, the small journaling cards that goes with this paper line. It doesn't matter what you add. You can make a photo mat, a long strip, or you can just pull one out of here and add a couple in here, like this. I was going to add some embellishments, but I think I'll wait for just a couple minutes. Let's see. I think we'll put a butterfly on this one to match the front to the page that I already did. Which butterfly did we put on there? We put this one on. These butterflies are really pretty. They have vellum, and they have like stickles on them, so they're glittered. They're really pretty. All right, so using your hot glue, because that'll make it stick. We're going to add our butterfly right here to the corner. You can embellish these albums any way you want. I'm just going to do it quickly because I want to make this video go a little faster than, spending a bunch of time and just embellishing when everybody knows what they like and everybody else has their own personal taste. So you can embellish it any way you want. All right, we're going on to the next page. So this is page 3, and it's a belly band also, and we are going to do it on the flip side of the page page 2 that we just finished. So this will be page 4. All right, and I've already pre-cut everything again, so here's my main page. Let's set the album aside again. So, main page. And this is a belly band again, so we are going to center it. Center our black cardstock on here. And these pieces are 4.5 by 8.5, and I punched both the top and the bottom. You can die cut if you want to die cut. or you can punch. It doesn't matter. I just went ahead and punched because I was trying to get this album put together. And the next one we are going to be doing some die cutting. So if you have dies, that's fine. If not, most people have punches. I used a Martha Stewart punch on this one, and it's a deep punch. So I made this a little bit wider. So 4.5 by 8.5. And we're going to center it on our page, flip it over, fold the edges, burnish these down so that they lay flat. You can get them as flat as you can. And your hot glue gun and adhere. Alright, got that down. Now we need to cover this front, and I used a piece of pattern paper that is 2 inches by 7 1/8 inch. If you don't want to measure all of these out perfect like this, I mean to the inch, to the 1/8 of an inch or whatever, you can also just eyeball these and get these put down with the pattern paper pretty easily. So it's not completely necessary that you measure it all, but if you want to, you can. If you don't, it's up to you. So we're going to adhere this down with our art glitter glue. I also like tacky glue if you don't have a store that sells art glitter glue. I like to use Eileen's also, so it's up to you. Both are really sticky and both dry fast. So that's what I like them when they dry really fast, because then you can move on to your next piece of the project. Okay. All right. So there's our belly band, and what we're going to do is we're going to add our bling now. And I already pre-cut mine, so it's ready to go. I just really love this bling. It's really inexpensive, and it makes your pages pop. It adds a little bit of elegance to them. You don't have to. It's completely optional, but I just like it. So almost everything I do has bling on it. You can trim off the excess if you want. Okay, so there's our belly band page. Let's flip it over and add our tape. 3/8 inch all the way around. We have a pocket at the top. Don't forget your pocket. You don't want to tape that down. Peel off your backing. All right, we're ready to put this in our album. Center it on your cardstock. And there you go. I went ahead and created the mats for this already. This is a 5x7 pocket mat for the large pockets for the back here. And this one's for the back. Again, you can add your tab to the top if you want. That's totally optional. I will do mine later. We don't have to do it now. And then this slips right behind the belly band. Okay. Page 6. Page 6 is going to mirror this. On this one, we're going to add some magnets. So you're going to need 4 magnets. You want to get those out. These things stick to everything. Oh my goodness. They're really strong, you can see that. Okay, put the rest away because if not, you won't be able to find your magnets later. They'll be stuck to something. The way we embellish this page that we just finished, page 4, is with a couple of flowers, and I use some of the ephemera from the Misty Rose collection, and we will embellish these pages shortly. All right, on to page 6. Alright, this page is fun. It's going to be, you're going to have a couple of flip outs on this page, so here's the main page. This is the mat that goes behind it. So we'll set that aside. Okay. So for these, let me see, I can't remember what size I cut those, so let me measure real quick. I cut 2 that are 6 by 5.5, 5.5 by 6. Okay, and then I scored them at 1/2 inch on each side. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do with these is about, we're going to have one flip from this side and the other one flip open from that side. So what we're going to do after we score these, we're going to tuck it back behind here, behind our main page, and we're going to glue that down. So make sure it's in the crease, and get your hot glue gun. And glue that down. Alright, now we're going to do the other side. We are going to line it up Make sure it's even. Flip it over. And glue it down. All right. There's our base of our pages. The next step is, let me look at my book here just to make sure I'm going to do this right. All right, so our magnets are going to go on the inside of this one and then on the top of that. So let's do this one first. All right, open it up, and let's get our one of our magnets. Decide where you want it, and then add a drop of glue. Set it down. Now I like to let mine, I like to cover mine with a piece of score tape just to make sure it stays down and it stays in place. So we're going to do that. Our next step is to cover the albums. So we're going to cut 2 pieces. Well, we're going to cut 4 pieces, 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, but we're going to use 2 different patterns. So one pattern is going to go on the inside of the pages and one pattern is going to go on the outside. So for the inside, we are going to use this pattern. And let's go ahead and glue that down. Remove the backing from your score tape. Add your glue. And adhere that down. Make sure you don't get into the fold. I like to burnish mine just to spread that glue behind it. Alright. Now you don't need a lot of this glue. It spreads really fast. You need just a drop, spreads a long way. Okay, there's that. Now let's turn it over and cover the front. And we are going to use this pattern paper to cover the front. Do the same thing. Add your glue. And then cover it, adhere it down. Alright, now let's open your book, and we are going to take another magnet and we're going to find where we're going to attach it to, we're going to find where our other magnet is and let it just catch. Once it does that, we're going to add a drop of glue. And then we are going to fold this over. And what that's going to do is spread our glue out onto our cardstock so that we know where to adhere our magnet. All right. Add a piece of score tape over the top of it. All right, peel that off. And let's add our pattern paper. Okay, center your pattern paper on the front, and now you have your magnet covered. Flip it open and let's do the inside. Remember not to cover your hinge there. And get that down really good. And now you've got this done. Flip that over, and there you go. You can hear it close. All right, so let's add a little bit of bling. All right. Let's put this in our book. I try to keep all my stuff in little baskets. I keep the adhesives together, and I keep the embellishments in a different basket, and my tools in another basket. And I try to do that because it helps me stay a little bit organized. And so I'm not always looking for my supplies. Which, if you're as messy a scrapper as I am, you kind of just throw things around, and the next thing you know, you can't find it. So I try to keep them in little baskets so that I can keep track of them. And I try to keep a garbage can right next to me so that I can throw my trash away as I'm going along. So here we go, page 6. Let's get it in our book. Remember not to cover the hinge. And there you go. It's all stuck down nice now. Take a burnisher, burnish the edges. Here's your large photo mat for the back, or well, for the pocket, for the large pocket. You can also add embellishing cards, journaling cards in here, which is what I did. So it doesn't really matter which ones you want to add. I'll just add these two. And you can actually mount a photo on this one, or you can do your journaling on this one. So you can just add those to the center, and then the magnets will hold them in place. Okay, done with that page. We'll embellish after we're all done here. Let's go on to the next page, and it is just a single pocket page. So let's work on that one. Some of these pages go faster than the others, but and what's good about this is you're going to have a ton of scraps left over, so your scraps can do all of these little pockets. Okay, so we're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 3.5 inches by 8 1/4, and what we're going to do is adhere it to the bottom of our page, and I've already stuck the tape down, the score tape, so peel your backing off. Center this on the main page. Flip it over. Got this one off a little bit, but that doesn't matter. I fold these over. So what I like to do when I make albums is do all of my cuts first. Cut out my whole album, and so that when it's time to for the fun stuff, like putting it all together, everything's cut out and you can just move along, and everything's ready to go, and you can get your album done a lot faster. It's the cutting that is really time consuming. Okay, our pocket's on. Let's add our pattern paper, and this pattern paper is, oh, I've lost my little ticket, so let's see, is 2 1/8 by 7. So let's go ahead and adhere it to the front. All right. Not sure where my bling went for this one. So we're going to have to cut another piece, but no big deal. I might have used it on something else, or I might not have cut it ahead of time. So just measure it out like this and trim it off. Peel the back off. and lay it down. Oops. Okay, now we are going to add our tape, score tape to the back and get it adhered in our book. Alright, center it in your book. Don't cover the hinge. Okay, page 8 is in our book, so let's add our photo mats to the pocket, and then one more in the front pocket. Now we're going to work on page 10. And page 10 is going to be a little flip page with an envelope and a big pocket in the back. So let's get started. All right. So we have our main page. That's a photo mat. And then our main page here. We are going to need a piece of black cardstock, 4.5 by 7.5, and we're going to score on the 7.5 side a 1/2 inch. And then fold it under. Tuck your main page in. And glue it down. Give it a quick burnish. Flip it over. And let's do the front pocket. We're going to need a piece of pattern paper that is 2 9/16 by 7 5/16. And we are going to make a little pocket on the front of this. And to do that, you're going to need some more black cardstock. And it is going to be 2.5 by 2 inches, and you're going to punch the top, and we're gonna make the little pocket. We'll put that aside. So we need some score tape to put down on the bottom. once you start making these pockets, it's super easy and super fast when you get used to it. And your album will go by really fast. Okay, adhere your black cardstock. Flip it over. Fold the excess. And glue. Alright, now back to the front, and we are going to need 2 small pieces that are, let me see, I lost my tag. 2 by 2.5. So the pocket, I told you wrong, is 3 9/16 by 3 1/4. All right, let's adhere this down. And I have a little piece of bling on a roll to go over the front. This kind of keeps the raw edges from looking so raw, for me anyway. Some people like their edges or their tops perfect, or just perfectly square, uncovered. Whatever way you like it, it doesn't matter. It's your preference. It's your album. Okay, so I think we're going to use some score tape on this one because it's a pocket and I want it to stay down, so we'll just use some 5/8 inch score tape on both edges, and that should be enough. It's pretty hard to rip up your score tape without tearing up your whole album. So, okay, we're going to adhere this one to that front flap. Okay, so that front flap is done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the inside and make another pocket, just using a different piece of pattern paper. So again, adhere some, add some score tape to the bottom. Remove the backing. Add your cardstock. Flip it over. Fold over the excess. And I didn't burnish the last one, but I don't think, I can't remember. All right. Adhere your front cover. And I lost my little piece of bling on a roll. Oh, I didn't put a piece of bling on a roll in the inside because I didn't want to make it too bumpy, so I kind of just left it straight. So let's adhere that to the inside. Using your 3/8 inch score tape. Run it down the side. I think I used 5 inch on the last piece, but it doesn't matter. It's sticky enough. It'll stick. Remove all your backing. And adhere it to your page. Okay, now we are just going to, I used my envelope tool. We are Memory Keepers envelope punch board to make these envelopes. This one is, let me see if I can find the measurements real quick. I know they're on the on my sheets, but I'm not sure where it is. But anyway, I made the envelopes with this punch board, and this thing makes envelopes any size you want. But if you don't want to use this, or you don't have it, you can always go to the store and purchase envelopes, or you can you know, order envelopes. You can do just about anything to get an envelope. But I found out that if you're going to buy envelopes, you can get this score envelope punch board for about half off with coupons, and sometimes they go on sale. But I mean, so they're just about, it'll be just about as much to buy the scoreboard as it, or the board, as it would be to buy, you know, 3 different sizes of envelopes. So anyway, so I made these envelopes. They're really cute. They turn out just the right size. You can make so many different sizes with this envelope board. And we're just going to adhere this, and we're going to just adhere 2 sides. Because we want to be able to tuck some stuff behind it. So use your art glitter glue, and what we're going to do is just go along the edge of 2 sides. So that'll be one side, one of the sides, and the bottom, and that will give us a little pocket. And just lay it on there straight, or you can angle it. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel like doing. It's up to you. It's your book, and when you start decorating these books, you can embellish them any way you want to. These hold the big cards, the big and journaling cards, and the small and journaling cards, so that go with this paper line. So it's perfect. All right, let's go ahead and do put this in our book. I'm a tool fanatic. I feel like if you have all the right tools, you can do anything. And I have so many tools, and I mean, I've invested money in them, and some I like and some I don't, but for the most part, I do some research on them, and if I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of them, I will buy them. And I'll tell you, there is nothing better than having the right tool when you need it. So I have several of these punch boards, and I mean, I am just overloaded with products, so I am good to go with my scrapbook room. Okay, so this one we adhered with the flap going this way. So this one here we are going to adhere with a flap going inside also, but it's going to be opposite of what's going on with the other page. So stick that down in your book. And burnish it in. Get those edges stuck down. And you can add your journaling tags to your pockets now. All right, on to the last page. So this is page 12. And page 12 is just a side pocket, and it's got a pocket that pulls out from the side. So this is just a little bit different. But we've made one so we can, it'll be easy enough to make. So now that you've made a couple of these, they'll go by fast. All right, let's pull all this stuff out. Hi, okay, I'm gonna need to go over this with you again because my video ran out. So we're gonna start here. We've done a couple of these pages, so this should not be any big deal. But I started this page by flipping it so that the circle, the half circle, is on my right hand side, which is going to be the other side for you. But anyway, my cardstock, I will have the measurements for you in my PDF file, and then I just covered this, but we built the page the same way we built all the others. We adhered the black cardstock at the bottom, flipped it over, glued down the edges, the excess, and then added our pattern paper, added our bling, and I'm at the point where I added all of my tape, my score tape, to make these envelopes. I used my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and it gives you all the measurements you need. I think I cut this paper out at like 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 for the envelope, and then you just follow the directions on the punch board. Anyway, so it's big enough where you can tuck something inside of it, and a private note, whatever you want, journaling, a photo, and then fold over the envelope. On this envelope, it's I cut the paper at 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and adhered it down, folded up, adhered it down, and it's big enough to hold one of these smaller journaling cards. So they're just about perfect. And with that punch board, you can pretty much make any size envelopes you want. I mean, you can't make really huge ones, but pretty good sized envelopes. So I think it goes all the way up to, you can make an envelope 11.5 by 11.5. So I mean, well, let me see, the card size would be 6 by 8.5, and then the paper you would use for a 6 by 8.5 card would be 11.5 by 11.5. So you can use a whole sheet of 12 by 12 paper and make an envelope for a pretty good sized card. So and the directions are all on the front of it, so it makes it just so easy to follow. So we're ready to adhere page 12 into our book, and let's remove the score tape off of the backing off of our score tape, and glue it in, set it in. Oh, don't forget to put your punched hole towards the outside. I almost messed up there. What did I tell you about this tape? It's sticky. If you have to trim a little bit off the top, that's not a big deal. Just go ahead and trim it off. I think I cut it just a little bit too long. I cut it to fit the other way, and then at the last minute decided to flip it out. So you pulled your pockets over here, and you can pull everything out from the side. You're going to have a few pieces of paper left from this finishing up this album, so you can do whatever you want, embellish it, make your own flowers, and add to the flowers you already have. But we are going to go ahead now and close this album up for a little bit, and we'll come back and finish embellishing, but I'll show you exactly how we embellished the other pages. So these pages are going to go like this, close up like this, and overlap each other. So when you close your album, and there's still plenty of room in here to add whatever, pictures and embellishments. So you still have quite a bit of room in there. You can add lots of stuff in there. So more envelopes, more journaling. Okay, so now we're going to work on the front of this album, and we are going to embellish it. And I don't know, everybody has their own taste, but I'm going to use some flowers and some of the ephemera from the Misty Rose collection. So let's just get started. I'm not going to do anything really fancy for this, so I want it to be a little bit simple, because I don't want it to be, the more you add to the front, the harder it is to store it and keep it from being damaged. So we're just going to add a few flowers. And who knows, I might do more later, because that's what I do. And then I'm going to add this little journaling card, this little piece of ephemera that came out of the ephemera package. And I'm just going to glue that in with my art glitter glue. And then I really like this little cross, so I am going to add that in also. I mean, this glue is so tough that you can add these little metal embellishments and they aren't going anywhere. All right. Now for a few more flowers towards the top. And I really love these roses. They're really pretty. And they go so, they're so perfect with I like to use my hot glue gun too for this because it just makes them stay. I know they're going to stay there, so. And then this also came in the little metals package, so, oops. I don't want to hot glue that, it won't stay. All right, add my little flourish, and we're gonna let all that dry. There we go. Had a little piece of hot glue stuck on there. Okay. You could do more if you want to. It doesn't matter. Oops. Add a little more glue to that. And there you go. Your book is done. If you want to add lace to the sides, you can do that. On the spines, it'll make it almost perfect. I kind of like the paper on the side, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that there like that. And I have a piece of bling on a roll I'm going to put in there on the edge. I should have done that first, but okay. All right. There you go. All right, now make sure everything is glued down and dry. So you want to give that a few minutes. And we'll start embellishing the inside of the pages. Okay, these little shabby chic treasures are cast iron, and they're by Prima, and I've used 2 on the front of the album, and I have one more piece left. It's a little chair, and then I'm going to this is what it looks like, and I'm going to put that in the album somewhere. I also want to add a few of these. They're half-back pearls, and they you just need to adhere them on with some glue, but I think they'll add a cute touch to some of the albums, some of the pages. And we still have a bunch of flowers, so we're going to add all those. I have all the ephemera. We're going to add all that, or at least some of it. And when I'm done, I will be back and show you what it all looks like.